So, yesterday I talked about the 4 definitions of yoga, and I don't want to repeat myself, so I will talk about something different. I tried to come up with a topic today, and I think it will be a topic that will mix a little bit like my own experience with let's say, meditation and asanas and movement, and maybe connecting it a little bit with one of the sutras of Patanjali. Have you done Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali? So, a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I will talk about the second sutra of the first chapter, which is about the chitta and the vrittis, the mind and the thoughts. I tried many times in my life to meditate since I was a kid, but I was never successful. I never really knew how to meditate. Even though I studied books and I went to a Vipassana retreat, a 10-day silent retreat, and doing meditation on my own, it never really, it was always more intellectual to me than experiential. Except for last year I had, I think a lot of people know already that I went to Peru and I worked with ayahuasca. It's a brew that you drink, it's a plant medicine, and it showed me many ways of how to connect with myself. And unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you how because words won't convey the feeling. But what happened in my experience is that whenever I was laying down after having drank the brew, there was a message in me telling me that it's okay. I can deal with what will come up, instead of intellectualizing it or rationalizing why things are happening the way they're happening in my head, to just be with it without reacting. And that time it was successful, and it gave me like a framework to know how to work, how to meditate. I will also talk about movement, about asanas and my movement and how they also connect with meditation as I speak. So basically what's my own, and I will talk about myself, I will say I won't say we, because I don't want to project, I don't want to say that this applies to everybody, although I feel like maybe what I will say could apply to some of you. A good way for me to meditate and to rid my chitta from the vrittis that I have is to lay down and to do absolutely nothing but to really relax and to allow whatever is inside of me to emerge. So I'm not trying to meditate on one thing, I'm not trying to think about a topic and meditate on it. No, what I'm trying to do is I'm just relaxing and I'm using my body as a vessel to feel things. And knowing that I'm a mature adult, because I feel that a lot of people have a problem dealing with their stuff, with their karmas, because they're afraid of really connecting with the karmas that they have. So they either intellectualize them or they can't be meditative because they're restless. But when we really know that there is something that's supporting us, that I am okay, even if I feel fully the impact of what's going to arise in me, I'm going to be fine. This is a very fundamental thing for me to know. And when I know and I connect with this, then I'm able to deal with my traumas, and then I'm able to deal with my karmas, and to have a clearer mind. So there will be, when I'm capable of doing this, there's less fluctuation in my head, and I feel that I'm more connected with my true self. And again, I do this by allowing my body to be like a little bit like a vessel that's feeling whatever is inside. So I'm like an empty container, and then by relaxing and being attentive and listening to what's happening in me without doing any effort, after a few minutes, maybe something will come up, and it's a feeling, and I don't try to intellectualize it or to find a meaning behind what I'm feeling. No, I just allow it to be, and then the meaning will come by itself. Maybe it will take a few minutes, maybe it won't. Maybe it will be trembling, because sometimes I tremble. And I tremble, and I allow the trembling to happen in me until it goes away. And then I feel so much more relaxed, and I feel like my mind is clearer, and I feel like I'm more connected with myself. I do this for about, let's say, half an hour or 1 hour. And then what I do is I go and stretch. So I don't do, it's one of the ways that I work with yoga, is that I don't do the asanas first to release the body and to sit and meditate. No, I use the asanas after to see how relaxed I am because of the meditation. So the asanas become like a tool for me to know how successful I was at meditating and being more connected with myself. Because the more I'm connected with myself, the more I'm relaxed and my mind is clear, the deeper I go in the stretch without even warming up for the stretch. Something else also that I've been learning is to allow my intuition to guide me instead of having my mind guide me. Because I've always been very intellectual, and intellectualizing things means like relying too much on the vrittis. Sometimes we feel good and we think one way and we think, oh, this is the right way, and then the day after we think that, no, I was wrong, today it's the opposite that comes to mind. So it's all bullshit, really. So by allowing my intuition to guide me via the movement, I use the movement as a tool to understand. So using the movement as a tool to understand what's happening in me, this movement guides me into different positions, and the positions guide me to different feelings in me. Sometimes it's a happiness, a happy feeling, and I can feel it, and I can like connect it with nature and how I'm part of nature, and it happens very much at a subtle level. I'm learning how not to interpret and how not to think, because I don't want the chitta to be disturbed. And the feelings sometimes guide me into sadness, like a sad pause. And then I allow myself to be sad, knowing that it's okay to feel sad. This is what's happening in me. I'm an adult, I can take it. And then I take it. And maybe I will cry, or maybe I will start to shiver again, or something will happen that's undesirable. But in a way it is desirable, because it's in me, it wants to be heard, to be released. So by allowing myself to relax in an intuitive move, I'm learning at the same time, I'm co-creating, like I'm learning how to be more attentive to myself and how to allow my true self to talk instead of thinking of what is right or wrong. So this has been a little bit my approach with meditation and with movement, and with getting a clearer mind and not having too many thoughts or fluctuations or vrittis on the screen of my mind. Any questions?
No questions, but yeah, that's especially relying on intuition. That's been my kind of guide after my first teacher training, and I go through the postures and the asanas, and now I just kind of do my own practice, and even when I'm seeing others, I kind of just let it flow, and let what arises need to arise with the postures and stuff. And so I totally get what you mean. It's like you feel like, oh, there's one spot, that needs a little bit more time, and then move into that, release something, and then you might feel something special, but maybe something to work on.
Yes, and sometimes I feel, thank you, yeah. And sometimes I really feel it, like I feel an energy going in a way like a pressure, a little bit like a pressure moving. Yeah. At the beginning I used to be afraid of something happening like that, like feeling a pressure somewhere. So I used to laugh in order to not to deal with it. But then with time I thought, like, who am I, why cheat? This is cheating. And this is a lesson by itself, like knowing that we're capable of facing our karmas or whatever it is, that we're capable of doing that. Then I stopped laughing, and then the feeling then the feeling could live in me. And then by living in me, it would take either a different form or it would just go away. And then I would feel so much better. A little bit like after a storm in the forest, when you start hearing the drops here and there, and then the animals go out. It's a little bit like that. After the storm. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.